Hey Queens, welcome back to my channel. I am back from my trip. I went to Japan and I wanted to tell you a lot about what I learned, what I experienced. Now, I already put out 2 videos of my trip, giving you pretty much like the places that I visited and a couple of fun facts. But I took a lot of notes and I just want to tell you verbally. You see, I took a lot of notes. And I'm going to be reading some of the things that I didn't get to share during the video because I didn't want to do a voiceover and I didn't want to do a side-by-side. I just wanted you to get the gist of the scenery and everything like that. But I'm going to tell you about my experience visiting Japan. I'm going to give you my honest opinion about everything, the culture, the country itself, the streets, the food, the money, everything. Also, some of their traditions. Now, behind me, I don't know if you can see, I have a whole bunch of souvenirs that I got and some extra stuff for myself. I am super fascinated with the Japanese culture. I've been wanting to make this trip for a long time. And actually, let me tell you what's interesting. We had planned to go to Japan this year, but we were planning to maybe booking the trip for, I think it was like May or June. And out of nowhere, my aunt called my mom and were like, listen, we're heading to Japan. Do you want to join us? And my mom was like, yeah, we'll be there. So we all headed to Japan in February. And I'm not mad at it. It was cold. But let me start where my trip started, ended, and in between. So we left on February 14th. That was Valentine's. That was on a Friday. Our flight from LaGuardia, we did a layover in Chicago. So our flight left at 8:15 and then we landed in Chicago like around 10 something. And then we were leaving Chicago, and I'll tell you right now, at 2 p.m. So from Chicago, we left to Tokyo at 2:10 p.m. It was a almost 13-hour flight, and it was it was torturous because the plane was big, but it was small at the same time. Like the seats were tiny. We flew with United Airlines, and the trip to Japan wasn't as pleasant as I was hoping, for many reasons. One, I got sick. The food made me so sick. I had nausea, I had diarrhea, like my stomach was a mess. So I apologize, I didn't have my mic on. So the food made me sick. I was a mess the whole trip. And in addition to me being sick, I felt claustrophobic in the small seats. And then on top of that, we had a flight attendant who was an older man. He was extremely rude. He had a terrible attitude. And he was extremely rude to my cousin who was sitting to my right. Now, my cousin he's a big guy, but this flight attendant, he was passing through. The aisles were pretty small, I understand, but, they usually say, please be careful, I'm coming through, whatever, right? Don't let the car hit you. But this man he was just like out of control. He kept pushing my cousin, and then on top of that, like he spilled some water on his arm. Didn't even apologize and kept walking. He saw what he did and he just kept walking. So like I was through with him. As a matter of fact, I was so upset that I said that I was going to file a complaint against him. And I'm looking for my plane ticket so that I can write to them and tell them exactly what flight number I was on and describe the flight attendant. I don't mean to be a complainer, and I'm not a complainer. But when you pay for a service, you expect to get the service and get it with a pleasant experience. I worked with the public for many years, and that's one thing that I always told my teams. Listen, we have to be kind to our applicants, to our clients, because of them we are working, and I never lost sight of that. So when I pay for a service, I expect the same for myself. So that's that. When we arrived in Tokyo, we were exhausted. We had to go through customs. We had to fill out forms. However, I want to say that the Japanese folks who work with the public are highly, highly professional and highly efficient. They are focused when they're at work. They don't play. They know their jobs. They get it done. They execute their jobs like without delay. And I just loved the experience with them. Everywhere we went, they were very polite and everything. But we were out of the airport in no time. The only thing, prior to going to Japan, I wanted to make sure that we had everything in check. So I went online and I said, what are, some of the tips of what to do when you get to the airport? So they said that the first thing you should do is exchange your currency, and to buy a transportation card, like a Metro card here in New York, but in Japan, right? So that's called, you can either get a Pasmo card or a Suica card. So I opted to get the Suica card. So this is what it looks like. So what you do is you can put some money on it. I chose to put 1,000 yen. Because I didn't know if that was enough. I didn't know if that wasn't enough. I didn't know. So what I did, I'll put 1,000 yen into the Suica card. And this is what I used to take the trains while I was there. Now, the train system over there is so overwhelming because there's so many people and so many lines. Like, just imagine Times Square to the 10th power. Like, every station is the same. So what we did was, every time we took a train, we had to swipe the card. What I didn't know, right, is that in Japan, in Tokyo, there are about 13 lines. 9 of those train lines are owned by private companies. Only 4 of them are run only 4 of them are run by the government. Every time you're going to take the train, you tap your card, and then it doesn't charge you until you exit. So when you exit, you tap it again, and that's when it charges you. So you tap it twice per line. Some lines are more expensive than others, and I'll tell you in a little while why. All right, so when we went to Tokyo, we had to take the bus. We took a luxury bus. Not really luxury, it's just a regular tour bus at the airport that took us to Tokyo Center area. And from there, we took a taxi to our hotel. So we stayed at the Appa Hotel. Let me tell you, this hotel was so nice. It was very tiny, as you saw in my previous videos. The room was very, very tiny. I stayed with my mom in one of the rooms because we were gonna, just share the space. We were there for I think 3 nights, so it was fine. But it was very tiny. But it was also very clean, and they were very respectful there. And whatever we needed, we were able to be accommodated. Then my cousin and my aunt, who invited us on this trip, they weren't going to get there till Monday night. So when they got there Monday night, they rented their room at the same hotel so we could all, leave together on Tuesday. So we checked out on Tuesday, and we headed to another hotel. But let me tell you about the Appa Hotel. I also showed this in my video, my first video. The breakfast, we paid for the breakfast. It's not complimentary. So we paid for the breakfast. And the breakfast shop was in the lobby of the building, of the hotel. And they had 2 menus. They had a breakfast menu, and then they had a lunch menu, which I found it a little odd that they would serve lunch in the morning, especially because breakfast time was between I think 7 and 11. But I was like, you know what, let me order what I think I'm gonna like. And so I ordered the curry chicken. It doesn't look very appetizing in the picture, but it was delicious. And so the other 2 days that we were there, that's what I opted to eat. So I ate that 3 days in a row. I didn't want to eat the eggs. I don't know why. I just wasn't craving eggs. So I chose to get the curry chicken. So the second one, I believe the name was the Villa Fontaine. And that hotel was bigger. The rooms were bigger. It was in another neighborhood. But I'm going to be honest with you, the bathroom smelled like mold. And what I didn't do, what I should have done, is let the front desk know, because there was a humidifier like right next to the bathroom, but it wasn't plugged in and I didn't even know if it worked. So I wouldn't give this hotel a 10, only because they didn't explain how to install or properly operate the humidifier. They didn't check with us to see if everything was okay. What they did have though, which I liked, and I'll give them an 8 for this, they gave us an excessive amount of things. So they have baskets upon baskets upon baskets of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of toiletries. And they were like, take as much as you want. So we did. So I always carry my own, sorry about the mic. I always carry my own slippers. Just because I don't know if they're going to provide us with slippers at the hotels that we travel to. So I always take my own. At this hotel, they kept giving us slippers. And they gave us these black ones. So we just brought, the two that we had in the room. And this is what we're going to be traveling with the next time we go away. So I took one for myself and one for my mom. The other thing that they had that they gave us like tons of were these, and I'm going to show you in a minute. And as you hear, they gave us tons of toothbrushes, and they gave us these small brushes, like hair brushes, shower caps. Like they gave us so many toothbrushes. And then they gave us these, and these are creams and shower gels. Oh, and then they gave, in one of these is a cleansing oil for you, like to remove your makeup. I have never, and I have a lot of products, and I've developed quite a collection of like skincare products, but I never enjoyed a cleansing oil like I did here. This is, I believe this is it. I don't know what brand it is. I don't know if it's a house brand, but this is it. Let me show you. Yeah, right there. This removed all my makeup in a heartbeat. And it didn't irritate my eyes. Sometimes you put oil to remove your makeup and it just like hurts your eyes. This didn't irritate my eyes at all. And so I'm trying to figure out I'm going to Google this actually. I'm going to Google this brand and see if I can buy it online. And then obviously they gave us a whole bunch of sugar and green teas and coffees. These are the sugars. They gave us a whole bunch of these like little stirs. Like they were really generous. That's the only thing that I will say about Villa Fontaine. So, and they were like, yeah, take as much as you need, whatever. And every morning the baskets were full of stuff. So I appreciated that. The third place where we stayed was an Airbnb. So I didn't take a video of the second hotel and I didn't take a video of the Airbnb. But let me tell you about the Airbnb. My cousin and my brother booked it based on price, right? Because we were trying to not spend so much money out there because we wanted to do other things. So they found this our Airbnb in a small, I don't know if it's a village, but it's outside of Tokyo, and it's about an hour away by train. It was quite a walk from the train station to the actual house, and the house was okay. It was like very narrow. It had 3 floors, and the 3 floors just had beds. You know, on the website, I believe it said it had like a kitchen or something like that. It didn't have a kitchen. It had a hot plate. They did have a sink on the 2nd floor, and they had 2 bathrooms, one on the 1st and one on the 2nd floor. So the 1st floor, we used it just to keep our coats on the beds. And the 2nd floor, I shared with my mom, my aunt, and my cousin, all females. And my brother and my other cousin shared the top floor, which had 2 beds on the last floor. This house was so cold. I mean, they had heaters and everything, but it took a long time to like heat up the space. And obviously, we went in the winter months, so everywhere you went was like really, really cold. The issue that I had with the Airbnb, I mean, I was blessed to like be able to stay outside, like in a town outside of Tokyo. And it was a different experience because we got to see how the Japanese really live out there. You know, they leave their small city to go into the big city, or their little town to go to the big city by train and everything. And let me tell you something, these people work really hard. They work long hours, and they're all about making money. There were a lot of rules. We had to take our shoes off at the entrance. We were not allowed to make noise after 10. The coming in and out, we had to either be inside by 10, no hanging outside the Airbnb. The owner said that if the neighbors complained that we were too loud, that she would ask us to leave and we would not get refunded. Like they were very strict, and they had too many rules. But, you know, we stayed for the time that we had to stay, and from the Airbnb, we went back to the airport to come home. And that was just our time there. We were just there to sleep anyway, so we didn't really spend time there in that town. We just needed a place to sleep. All right. So originally, right, we were talking about, we had like a week and a half to plan this trip, right? So the plan was, we came up with an itinerary. Well, I came up with an itinerary. And I said, well, okay, so then we only had 10 days, right? This was going to be a 10-day trip. I said we can spend 2 or 3 days in Tokyo, explore the main attractions. The next trip, we can then take a train or a bus to Kyoto. That's where it's famous for geishas. And that's been my dream to go there, because after seeing Memoirs of a Geisha, I always wanted to go there. So I said, okay, we'll go there. Then we got bus tickets and everything. Then the plan after Kyoto was to go to South Korea, which is only 2 hours away from Japan by plane. So I said, okay, from South Korea, we'll spend a couple of days there, and then from there we'll take the plane in the morning back to Tokyo, and in Tokyo we'll just fly out to New York. That was the plan. What happened was, when we got to the bus stop, we finished touring Tokyo, and then we took our bags, we checked out of the first hotel, and we went to the bus depot where they were going to take us to Kyoto. We're going to travel throughout the night because it's like an 8-hour drive. We get to the bus stop, and they tell us that our tickets were canceled because Kyoto was under a snowstorm and no one was driving out there. So then we had to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? I am so grateful for my brother and my cousin, because they really took the lead of this trip. And then they figured out, okay, you know what? We're not going to be able to go to Kyoto because it's going to be under snow for the next couple of days. So that plan is really scratched. We need to find out. And then it was like about 8 o'clock at night by the time we got to the bus stop. So they were like, where are we going to go? So they found a hotel, and they were like, okay, we got to get back on the train and travel back to the city because we're going to stay in another hotel. Since Kyoto was out of the question, they decided to book it for the next, I think, 2 or 3 nights. So that's what we did. Then we went to Villa Fontaine. That's the place where they gave us all this extra toiletries and everything. And we stayed there and we explored Tokyo and other places again. My cousin wasn't around when we explored like the crossing and Shinbuku, Harajuku, Asakusa. I think that was in, yeah, and Meiji Temple, and I forgot the name, Yoyogi Park or something like that. So she wasn't around for that because they hadn't gone to Japan yet. So what we did was like we decided to explore those other areas with them again so that they can see it for themselves, and we did a lot of walking. Now, we wanted to go to South Korea because it's my mom's dream to go there, right? When we looked at the tickets, the plane tickets were like $900. The cheapest one was like $300 and something. And it was 6 of us. So we were like, we can't. There's no way. Like, we came here with a budget and we have to stick to that budget. And I don't blame my mom and everyone else for not wanting to go, not wanting to spend that type of money, because it was a lot of money. So, and that was only one way. So we decided not to go to South Korea. And that's when we booked our stay at the Airbnb for the remainder of the time that we were in Japan. So let me tell you, I'm going to put my glasses because, like I said, I have my notes and I want to share with you everything. So there's a couple of things. I'm going to go and I'm going to show you. I think I'm going to pull some of the stuff as I talk to you and I tell you about the notes that I took. I'm going to pull some of my souvenirs out so that I can show you. All right. So what I learned, and you saw some of these things in my videos, in my previous 2 videos, but let me tell you some other fun facts. So I learned that Tokyo has 37 million residents. That's a lot of people. It also has a lot of cat cafes. Well, the cat cafes started in Tokyo. It also, the Shibuya crossing is insane. It's the busiest pedestrian crossing in the world. And 6 million people cross that intersection a day. 6 million. That's a lot of people. I don't even think Times Square gets that. All right. So let me see what else. We also visited Shinjuku. So let me tell you about Shinjuku. Shinjuku is like the Times Square of Japan. It is the city that never sleeps over there. It also it has a lot of bars and restaurants that are open 24/7. It's also known for their red light district, and I hope you know what that means. You know, they had like the pretty ladies escorting people. And while we were there, we were trying to figure out what we're going to eat lunch. And we saw a young lady with a man. And like her bottom was hanging out. And we were like, what? So, yeah, we got to see that. They also have a lot of interesting like clubs. From what I understand, there's a club cover, an entry cover everywhere you go. Shinjuku is also where the Godzilla head is that I showed you in one of the videos. It's also where the 3D cat is. So, and it's also a little dirty. I forgot to mention that. I found that city, that part of the city, a little dirty. Now I want to tell you about the food. The food all over Japan. I cannot honestly give the food 10 out of 10. No. Because let's say... Alright, let me just be honest with you. Japan has Wagyu beef, which is their version of like the Korean barbecue. That is bomb. Like, that is so good. We went to a Wagyu spot. And they served, it was 6 of us. So they had so much meat and there was just so much food and it was delicious, delicious. We also went to another spot where I had tempura chicken, and they served sobu noodles. They also had, I believe, miso soup. That was really good. Then I also went to another spot with my mom, with my mother and my aunt. It was by a train station near the Villa Fontaine, and that place only served noodles, and it was like a seaweed based soup. It was amazing. But those noodles were udon noodles. That soup was so good. It was delicious. And then the last meal that I really enjoyed was the last meal in Japan, which was at the airport, and I had teriyaki chicken over rice, and that was delicious. But the other places that we ate weren't so good. I didn't enjoy it. Japan has a very distinctive smell. Like their food smells a certain way. I'm not sure if it's because they eat pork. I don't know what it is, but I didn't enjoy it, and I'm sorry if it offends anybody, but I just didn't enjoy it. And I wanted to be very careful of what I ate over there, because like I said, when I landed there, the food from the airplane made me so sick that I just didn't want to be sick over there during my trip. So I tried to be careful what I ate. Another thing that I didn't enjoy was the rice. I think it's like a rice. It's a triangle. It's rice with like salmon inside, and it's covered in seaweed. It's just so good. That was delicious. I had that. Transportation. So over there in Japan, the majority of the people move around by trains. You know, I saw some buses. I did get to see some buses and some bus stops, but for the majority of the people that live there, they move around by train. So the trains over there, like I said earlier, there are 13 lines. 9 lines are owned by private companies, and 4 train lines are run by the Tokyo government. But they are very efficient. They're always on time, and if they're running late for something, they apologize to you. The conductors and everything on the plane. On the train. And I just, like I said, I felt a little overwhelmed and everything. But so now, getting to every destination, we took the trains. We took I want to say 6 trains a day. In addition to walking everywhere, and we walked a lot. I want to say we hit 10,000 steps easily in one day. But we had to use a Suica card to get to every train station every train line that we needed to take. So every time I tapped it, it would give me the balance. And it would tell me how much it charged me. And for some lines, it was like 200, let's say 215 yen, or I don't know, 190 yen. But when you left the city to go out, like for example, when we stayed in the Airbnb, it cost us like 600 and something yen. So the farther you go, the more expensive it is. So I charged it. I recharged it I want to say maybe 2 or 3 times. And every time I recharged it, I would add 1,000 yen. I didn't want to add too much because I didn't want to leave any money in the card. Because I'm not going to go back anytime soon. But I was able to use most of it up. Vending machines. So throughout Japan, you see a lot of vending machines. And they sell food, snacks, and beverages. 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is owned by the Japanese. I did not know this until prior to going to Japan. And there is a 7-Eleven on every block. Literally every block you see a 7-Eleven. And so in the 7-Elevens, you can purchase food that you can microwave in your home or your hotel, your hostel. They have snacks, they have beverages, they have liquor, they have beer. What else do they have? They have pharmaceuticals aspirins and things for your, if you have an upset stomach. They have everything. So I was really impressed. They also have ATMs there. So when you want to do some currency exchange, or you want to use your ATM card, your debit card, to get some cash out over there, you can use the 7-Eleven, and you put in your American ATM and you'll get the yen however much you want, and the rates are actually better if you use a 7-Eleven ATM. If you go to like the banks or the airport exchange centers, the rate is higher. So that's one thing to look at. In Shambuya, they also have this place called Don Quixote Megastore. Don Quixote is this huge, like 7-floor building where they sell everything. They sell snacks, they sell beauty items, they sell electronics, they have souvenirs, they have liquor. And let me show you what I got there. So one interesting thing that I learned was that if there are tax-free stores, so if you spend 5,000 yen or more, your purchase can be tax-free. The only thing, there's a rule though. The rule is that if you get any item tax-free, you cannot use it in Japan. You have to wait to exit the country to be able to use your items or your products or whatever you use, whatever you purchased. Let me show you what I purchased. And they also wrap it and seal it in these bags so you don't use it. So if you open these bags while you're in Japan, then you have to pay taxes. I don't know how they can know, but they know. So what I decided to buy over there, now I can open these bags. What I bought at Don Quixote was, what I was looking for was these face masks, these rice face masks. And everyone talked about these masks that make your skin look glowy and healthy and glass-like. Everyone is crazy about the Korean skincare products, but Japanese got fly skin too. So I went and I got these masks. These are let me just show you what they look like. This is sealed, and this has, I believe, 7 masks. This is called the Kiana rice mask, and these are made in Japan, and these, I believe, have 7. Oh no, they have 10 masks. And on the back, I mean, everything is Japanese, but I bought one pack when my cousin and my aunt was still in Florida. Like, I think it was like my second day in Tokyo. And then when they got there, then I was telling her about it. And she was like, girl, I'm dying to get these rice masks. So we went back to Don Quixote and she got her very own. This one, I tried it while I was in Japan. This one is sealed, but I bought another one that is already open. So I have 2 left here. And because I brought other masks with me, so I didn't want to use them all up. But I think there's like 1 or 2 left in this pack. But let me tell you, it feels, my skin feels so refreshed and moisturized, and it just feels so beautiful. So I bought another pack for myself, and I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna use them up. I also bought this. So these are patches for the feet and calves. And they provide, well, they wanna, if you need your feet to feel soothing, if your feet feel tired or cramped, they say that these pads are really good. They really soothe your feet. I really bought them for my mom. Sometimes her feet hurt a lot, so I got them for her. And this bag, also at Don Quixote, I bought 2 packs of the Sakura. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, Sakura tea. This is for lattes. So I bought 2. And In one of my videos, I showed when we went to Rainbow Pancakes and we got these big fluffy pancakes, and I drank the Sakura latte. Can I tell you that it was delicious? It was so delicious. And then I also got one of these carry echo bags. And if you can see it, it says Tokyo. And these bags, they wear everywhere. When they go shopping, they have their little bags. So I got myself one. And then I also got this little small, this is it was in the tequila section. I don't think it's tequila. I think it's probably like another type of liquor. And I haven't consumed it because I'm waiting for maybe a Friday night after a long week, or maybe, you know, whenever I feel like having a drink, I'm gonna have that. Speaking of Sakura, in Japan, you know, they're famous for their cherry blossom. So Sakura is a cherry blossom essence, and it is very delicious. It was very creamy. But I also wanted to go to Starbucks there and look at their little bag. Now we didn't go during the cherry blossom season because that's the springtime, but they are very well known for that. And I wanted to get a thermo for my coffee from Japan. So I got this one. This is so pretty. This is the cherry blossom. It says Starbucks here. Yeah, that's what it says. And this is for coffee, tea, water. But I want it for my coffee. So it's very light, it's very small, and it's very dainty. I also got the spring season blend from Starbucks. And this is the, you know, like the instant coffee. So I'm looking forward to having a taste. So that's this. And so while I was traveling, I also wanted to get some souvenirs. I think I was more overwhelmed by the amount of like stores, like little stores and little kiosks in the city, because they sell everything and the prices are very competitive. So I wanted to bring some stuff for my loved ones and for myself. So this is what I got. I purchased for myself a green tea. It comes in this beautiful Japanese background. And here are the cherry blossoms. Here is a shrine. And this is really like the countryside. So inside, it's sealed with this. And the green tea comes in this bag. So I haven't opened it because I wanted to show you guys, but I'll be drinking it this week. Today would have been great because today was like very, very cold in New York. I also purchased these shampoo and conditioners. These are like deep conditioning treatments for the hair that I saw a YouTuber talk about. And these are by Honey. So this one is Melty, and it's a deep conditioner repair, a hair repair. This one is a shampoo and conditioner, and it's deep moist. This one is Pixie, and it's moist silky treatment. So what I like about these is that it's just, if you want to try it out, they do have like the tumbles that are, or the jars that are larger, but I wasn't going to check in any of my luggage. I only brought carry-on luggage, so I couldn't buy anything like huge. And this one is Honey Milky, and this is a Precious EX repair treatment. and I wanted to get my my friends, my family, some souvenirs. So this is what I got. Hopefully this video is out after I give it to them, so they don't see this part of the video before they get their gifts. And I also forgot to show you another gift that I picked up for myself. So I have chopsticks at home. I actually have two that a friend of mine purchased from South Korea when he went to South Korea. But I got myself chopsticks from Japan. And what's special about these is that they're engraved. Let me take them out of the plastic so you can see better. They asked me what names I wanted to, you know, to engrave. And obviously I say Jetitos because that's the title of my book. And if you haven't picked it up, I'm going to leave the link down below so you can see it. But I wanted to, let me show you. Hopefully the camera picks it up nicely. So on one stick has Jetitos, and on the second stick it says Jetitos but in Japanese. I think this is so adorable, and it has what I'm assuming are geishas on the top. My mom bought my niece a pair with her name, and these chopsticks were a gift from my mom. No, actually from my brother. And these are clear. Let me take them out of the bag. And I think that they're just so beautiful. They're clear. They have the mountain. They have a shrine. They're just so, so pretty. And then they have the cherry blossoms all over. And if you see here at the end, there are, I'm assuming they're, I don't know how to describe this, but they're textured at the end. And I'm assuming it's for picking up rice and the food, because sometimes chopsticks can be slippery. So that was that. And then I got my friend these. We're gonna take off the price because I don't want her to see how much I paid, even though it's not about, you know, how much, the price and all, is the thought that counts. But I got her these beautiful ones, and I can't take them off out of the plastic, but they're just very, very colorful. I also picked up my family, my dad, his wife, and their children, these. This is a family pack. And then I got these for my friend and her family. It's the same exact one. Just one comes in a box and one comes in a plastic. I also got these bags. Like the bag that I got for myself, the grocery bag. I got one like this for my stepsister and one for my dad's wife. And what else did I get? And I also got a Japanese fan. I can't open it obviously, but it's a fan that she can carry with her. I also bought a pair of socks with this geisha, and on the bottom it says Japan, and it is so cute. I got two pairs, one for me, one for my brother, but my brother was, I believe, a panda bear. The first day that I was in Shibuya, I bought, you know, I told you they're crazy with cats, right? They have cat cafes, they have pet stores everywhere where you can go in and, like, you know, look at the cats and dogs. So I got this one. I fell in love with this one. I think this is like a fall. This is for the fall because it has like leaves and it has a pumpkin. But I just thought that this was so adorable. This is a bag, and I thought that this would be really nice to take with me on my reading dates that I was telling you about a few videos ago. I also purchased I purchased about I I purchased a few t-shirts. This is one of them. And it's a geisha playing an instrument. I think it's so beautiful. The colors are so beautiful. This one is just a black plain one that says samurai. I'm not sure why I picked up the black one. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to go to Japan, to pick up a kimono. Now, I didn't get a fancy one. I got a regular kimono that you can pick up at the souvenir shops. It wasn't cheap. It was a little pricey, but not as pricey as a real kimono. So what I learned about the kimonos, before I show you mine, is that there are 4 types, right? So like I told you, Emperor Meiji, he is the emperor who pretty much modernized Japan. And in the 19th century, but before that, everyone, women and men, would wear kimonos. When he modernized Japan and brought and allowed Western styles to be worn, then men and women started wearing regular clothes like we do, right? Like pants and skirts and dresses. But until then, there were 4 types of kimonos. So there were kimonos for the single women. There were kimonos for married women. There were kimonos for every day. And for, I believe, ceremonial festivities. And then the gentlemen, men had their own kimono. So the ones for women, for single women, their sleeves are long. For married women, the sleeves are short. For the everyday, they used to wear cotton kimonos, and they would wear those also for festivities. And the male kimonos, interestingly, had the family, what is it called? Crest, the family crest. And I found that very interesting. So throughout the city, we were in, I used to mispronounce this one city. It's called Asakusa. And I don't know why I gotta bend my head every time I say it, but I just find it so interesting, right? Because I kept saying Asakusa, and it wasn't Asakusa, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't want to offend anyone here. But it wasn't Asakusa, it was Asakusa. And so we were in Asakusa, and I found this shop that was selling kimonos, and they were so beautiful. But and I was able to, and I was technically, I could have afforded it because I had the money for it. That's one thing I was like, I'm going to pick up the one that I want. The only difference between the one that I purchased and the one that I wanted in Asakusa was that kimono was very heavy. This one is pretty light, but it is beautiful. I'm going to show you because I just took it out of the package. As you see, it says made in Japan. And it is beautiful. I'm going to try it on and I'm going to show you, and I'll show you at the end of this video what it looks like. But it is gorgeous. Look at these colors. This is like a royal blue. And it has all these beautiful flowers. It has a tie, but it has Japanese women on the back. It is knee length. It's not that long. It's knee length or a little below the knee. Because I'm short, it fits me longer. But it does have a tie in the middle. A waist tie. And that one didn't cost as much as the other one. Like I said, the other one was heavier. The material was very thick. There's no way that I could have fit that, the thicker one, the heavier one, in my suitcase. I would have had to get rid of my regular clothes in order for me to bring it back to the States. But this one I'm very happy with. I am so happy with this one. I cannot wait to wear it. And then I also purchased, my aunt wanted to go to this consignment store there that everybody talks about. So we went. They had some Louis Vuittons, they had Gucci, they had Saint Laurent, they had Coach. They had all these beautiful bags. You know, you could have repurchased, you know, these bags. The only thing is that I didn't buy any luxury brands. I did buy 2 bags there. And I'll show you the first one. When I saw this one, this is a French leather bag. And I'll show you the ticket and everything. I fell in love with it. It's like this is like a olive green leather. It's green leather. Has these wooden handles. And there's a lot of room, as you can see. And here, let me show you where it says that it's French leather. Where can you see it? Right there. Let me close up. Right here, you see the French flag. And let me show you what it cost. So this was, I'll show you the ticket. It's still attached. It's called Second Street resale shop. So it cost 2,900 yen, right? So what I paid for was like 20 bucks. Let me show you the conversion, because I added the conversion on my calculator. And as you can see, on the top it says US dollars, and here it says Japanese yen. So I'm going to put under yen, I'm going to put 2,900. And on the top, it converts it to dollars. So I paid $19.22. And that's what I paid for that French leather bag. I think it's a steal. If I would have seen this in New York, this would have been over $100. I did squish it a little bit because I had to put it in my luggage. So I'm just going to stuff it so that it can get its shape back. But I am so in love with this bag, especially because I love olive green. I don't have any olive green. Well, I do actually, that I picked up in H&M once. But this is real leather, French leather. And then the second bag that I bought is this one, which I think is so adorable. I started using it already, but I still have the tag. Is this little mini bag. I think it's so adorable. It has a strap. And I already put my stuff in here. Like I have my, let me show you. Yesterday I wore it for the first time. So I have my wallet and my car keys are not here, but my shades are here. My car keys are somewhere else. And I already wore it. But this little bag, this is the ticket. Let me see. Yeah, it was 900 yen. So 900 yen, let me show you what it is here. 900 yen is $5.96. That's what I paid for that bag. And I remember checking, right? When I was at the store, I always had my calculator out when I was shopping because I wanted to know how much I was investing into these things. Now, the souvenirs really, like, they fluctuated in price. So I wasn't too worried about that. But the stuff that I was going to buy for me, I'm like, you know, if I can get a cheaper price, then it would have been better. Now, let me talk about the other places. Now, let me talk about the other things that I wanted to mention about Japan. Etiquette. So Japan is a very clean country. You don't find a piece of garbage anywhere on the street. There are some places where you do smell. The smell is a little not so pleasant, but the majority of Tokyo is very, very clean. So let me tell you the do's and don'ts of Japan. As a matter of fact, I wrote them down because the etiquette list is very long. So 1, you have to like bow, you know, to show some gratitude or just a kind gesture, you know, you bow. But when you bow, you deeply bow, it shows respect. So when you say good morning, good afternoon, thank you, you give a small bow. Speak softly. So speaking loudly is considered being disruptive, and they frown upon that. They do not like anyone being loud on the trains, on the street, talking on the trains. You know how we do here in New York? That does not fly over there. People frown upon that. They like their quiet space. They like their tranquility. Most people on the trains, from what I witnessed, were on their phones. And even if they were, let's say, talking to someone, it was like almost whispering. Like I couldn't hear what they were saying. There was a time when we were a little loud, and I had to remind ourselves. We had to remind ourselves to tone it down, because we are from New York and we are loud. But we also had to be respectful to their culture, and we didn't want to get in trouble. I am a law-abiding citizen everywhere I go, and so I follow the rules. 3, no PDA. There is no PDA over there. They are a very cold culture. They don't show affection at all. And Latinos are very different. Like, we just hug on each other. We just love everybody. But no PDA in Japan. Number 4, chopsticks. So when you use chopsticks, right, to eat, so they encourage you to use them correctly to eat, obviously, but they tell you never to stick them down like this on the rice, because their rice is pretty sticky. So some people will just stick it there, while they're eating other stuff, their soup and stuff. They encourage you not, they discourage you from sticking your chopsticks like this in rice, because that really resembles a ritual, like a funeral ritual. So you are not allowed to do that in the restaurants. Also, slurping your noodles is considered like you're enjoying your food, and they want you to do that, which I can't stand the sound of slurp. But that's number 5. Okay, number 6. They have, everywhere you go, they have trays, and you have to place the money. When you're paying for something, you place the money on the tray, and then you give the tray to them. They return your change on the same tray. They never touch you, like they never hand you money and stuff like that. And if for whatever reason they do, they hand you money with both hands. So you're supposed to receive it with both hands as well. Number 7. So you are allowed to pour everyone else's tea, but you can't pour your own. That's just proper etiquette over there. What happens is that let's say I'm hosting a dinner, I will pour everyone else's drink, and then someone will pour mine. Number 8, no shoes. You have to remove your shoes when you enter certain places. So now, like in hotels, and certain hotels and restaurants, and the city, you can wear your shoes all day long everywhere. But there are certain places where you have to take them off. If you, like for example, at the Airbnb, we weren't allowed to use shoes anywhere around the house. So we had to put on slippers at the entrance of the home. That was one of the rules. I know that certain tea houses, you have to take off your shoes at the entrance. Either you are barefoot or with socks, or put on slippers. So that is a rule there. Number 9 is you have to walk on the left side of the street. Wherever you are, you have to walk on the left side. And in the train stations, they have arrows that will point you to where you're supposed to walk. And you know how here you walk in like everywhere. You walk on the right, you walk on the left side, you walk in the center. No. Japan is very strict about where you're supposed to be. And that's just to keep order, and I loved it. So because we weren't used to it, we were walking sometimes we would walk in the center of the street, whatever, or wherever we were, like in the train stations. Mostly the train stations, and certain streets you walk on the left. But it was something to just get used to, but it wasn't a big deal. Number 10, No eating on streets, in trains, or only in designated areas. So when we went to 7-Eleven or those convenience stores, you were able to buy like food, quick snacks, drinks, even hot teas, but you couldn't eat it on the street or on the trains. Right outside of 7-Eleven, there's a little space where you can pretty much by the wall of the store, you can stand there and just eat your snack or your drink, and then you have to dispose of it in the garbage can inside the 7-Eleven. There's no trash in the street. There are no garbage cans in the corners like here in the U.S. Yeah, it's very interesting. They're very strict about loitering. There's also no smoking. They have designated areas where you can smoke. Even like there was a bus depot that when we went to the consignment store, there was a bus depot nearby. And off to the side of the depot, away from the buses, there was a little like box, like glass box, and you went in, and that was the only place where you could smoke or vape, but nowhere on the street. You can get a fine. 13, be polite and humble. They are big on being polite and making sure that you don't disturb anyone around you. And let me see, I think this is the last one. Oh yeah, 14, no blowing your nose in public. You cannot, some people they blow their nose everywhere. No, not in Japan. You cannot do that. Yeah, that was it for etiquette. And also, I forgot to mention with the Suica card, you can pretty much buy anything. So with this, if you put enough money in the Suica card, it can serve as your ATM card out there too. So for example, I only wanted to use it for transportation purposes, but you can add more money to your Suica card and use it at the 7-Eleven or to pay for certain things as a tourist. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Matcha. What I learned about matcha, matcha is a powdered version of the green tea. And let me tell you what I learned from over there. It was introduced in the 12th century by Zen Buddhist monk who brought tea seeds from China. It was used by samurai and monks to stay focused and calm during meditations. And the Japanese tea ceremony was developed in the 15th century as an art form. While I was there, I also saw the go-karts. So I showed some of it in my first video. And in order to be able to participate in the go-karts in the city in Tokyo, you need an international driver's permit. Now, you don't get it in Japan. You're supposed to get it in your home country. And it can take up to like 1 to 7 days for you to be issued this permit, and it lasts for 1 year. And then also, I believe it was in the last video, I think it was the last video that I don't remember which video it was. I also showed on 2/23, which was February 23rd. We were in Shibuya, and they had, was it Shibuya? I think it was Shibuya or Asakusa. They had taiko drumming. And that is a yearly celebration on February 23rd to celebrate the emperor's birthday. And the emperor's name is Naruhito. I believe it's Naruhito. If I mispronounce that, I am sorry. So basically, this is all that I learned while I was out there, because I asked a lot of questions. We also Googled a lot of it because we didn't understand. I didn't know any phrases in Japanese other than arigato, as thank you. But there's a second word that goes with arigato. I just couldn't remember it. But every time I said arigato, you bow to show respect to their people over there. But anyway, Queens, this is the video of my trip, my impressions. I loved it. I had such a great time, especially because I went with my family. I felt really safe. Japan is also one of the safest countries in the world. I saw police cars like twice the whole 10 days that I was there, and they didn't bother anybody. They weren't chasing. The sirens weren't going off. There's no stealing over there. I wasn't afraid of being robbed. It was just really safe. I loved it so much. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.